Listen, I've done the hard work for you. I've been saying this for I don't know how long. Whatever you want to be upset about or be happy about when it comes to the NFL draft, I don't care what it is. You can like your players. We all have our guys, part of the draft process, right? People that I trust about football. We disagree wholeheartedly. This is my guy. That's your guy. We'll see who's right. I do not think anybody has a foolproof grasp on what a college player, what a college prospect will turn into in the NFL. There's too many variables. But the only thing I say is make your opinions known pre-draft. Make your opinions known before the draft, because then you're not being mad just to be mad. Then you're not just being happy because you like Dave Canales. Right? It's like, hey, you know what? I like Dave. So whoever he picks, I'm going to find a stat that I like about him and say it's a good pick. Put your opinions out there before the draft. I have in front of me the perfect draft. I went and then I took every pick the Panthers have. I didn't go trades, okay, because that too difficult, too much time, and I in my mind I'd just be an excellent negotiator, right? I don't know. I got on the phone with the Vikings. They gave me all of their first rounders for the next 10 years. I made it happen. I sold them on it. So instead, no trades. I have every pick. The Panthers have 8th overall pick. In the second round, they have the 57th overall pick. Third round, 74th, and on and on and on. They have 2 4ths, 3 5ths, and a 7th. I have a name that I want in every pick. I did do this last year. I got one right. I had 4th round Jadeveon Sanders, the tight end, and that is exactly what happened. I'm hoping to have more this year, but it's harder than it looks. With the first round, 8th overall, I'm going chalk, Jalen Walker. And by the way, this is what I want, not what I predict will happen, although this particular pick is both. It's about fit. That's everything I'm hearing. Everyone I talk to about the draft, once you get beyond the top 3, which will be Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, probably with Hunter and Carter flipped, Hunter going second, Carter going third. Those 3 you draft for upside. From that point on, pick 4 on, it is about fit. It's about what do you need. It's about how do you view positional importance. The picks are as much about the team as they are the player. There are no inevitables beyond that point. So Jalen Walker, it's a premium position of need for the Panthers. It's about drafting someone that'll help establish the Panthers' defense from every perspective on and off the field. Jalen Walker. Round 2. Oh, and by the way, just for the rules of this perfect draft, I did look at an ESPN and an NFL Network 7-round mock draft, and nobody that I have selected was taken more than 5 picks in the mock drafts, 5 picks before the Panthers pick. So they're all within at least 5 picks, or they can be as far after as you want, just to make sure I wasn't doing anything unreasonable.
So, yeah, within range.
Round 2, Xavier Watts, safety, Notre Dame.
Love that pick.
He might be, and this is no disrespect to Starks or Emanwari, the best playmaking safety in the draft as far as getting his hands on the ball, intercepting the ball, looking to turn it back into offense and return interceptions. He's a Johnny-on-the-spot kind of player, and I think they need those types of playmakers on the defense. Guys like Derrick Brown, super good player. Wanham, right? They have players, J.C. Horn, wildly good players, but they're like sound, right? Derrick Brown might not get a strip sack, but he's going to hit 7 run stuffs. J.C. Horn, for as great as he is, right, low passer rating against, not many yards allowed. He doesn't get many interceptions. They need someone to make the big plays. I think Xavier Watts can do that, walk into a starting role at Notre Dame, from Notre Dame to Carolina. Round 3, Kyle Williams, wide receiver, Washington State. Fast guy. 4-4, playmaker downfield, stretches the field, all those kinds of things. This is a player that rose late. I didn't even know he was on my board until, shout out to, and I don't usually agree with him, Chris Sims brought him up in his top wide receivers, and I went, all right, let me see this. Watched it and went, ooh, interesting. He's what they need opposite of some of the other guys who are more possession guys, right? Thielen, Jalen Coker, we still don't really know what Xavier Legette is, but I know what Williams is, and he can fly.
Ran a 4.4 flat 40 at the combine.
And plays faster than that, right? There's like Matthew Golden. You watch Matthew Golden from Texas. You watch it. I literally watched a bunch of film on him before the combine, and in my notes I wrote not a burner. Then he ran a 4.29, and I was like, wait a second, that doesn't show up on tape. Kyle Williams is the opposite. Burner, 4.4, plenty fast enough. But I think he plays faster than that. Round 4, Quincy Riley, cornerback, Louisville, not Illinois.
Yeah.
This is pick 111. He's a player that came in on a visit to Carolina. That's what sparked my interest. I went, let me go watch. Really liked it. So you know that there's some interest from the Panthers. If he's sitting there at pick 111, I think it's a great fit. 3 picks later, 114. It's another 4th rounder. I'm going Lathan Ransom, a safety from Alabama. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't need 2 different rookies to play at some point in time at safety. They need depth, they need athleticism, and in the 4th round, I'm maybe looking for a higher floor rather than the super-duper high ceiling. If you play a lot at Alabama in the SEC against those opponents, I think you're going to be all right. Round 5, you'll like this one, Dennis. He was available. I wasn't thinking he was. Brashard Smith.
Yes.
Pick 140. He was available by our rules. Fast running back, very good compliment to Chuba Hubbard. There were other running backs that I have kind of in that same category that I was prepared to go with, but he's outside of the guys that'll be drafted very, very high. I think he fits the role for the Panthers about as good as anyone could. Round 5, pick 146, I went Jared Ivey, an edge from Ole Miss. I do think that is something, he brings size. He's 280 pounds. So if you're going to go Jalen Walker on the edge, a little undersized, it's nice to have somebody that can go in there and be a bit bigger, playing in more of an inside role, stopping role. They have so many 5th round picks. Last 5th round pick 163. I went Aeneas Peoples, defensive tackle, Virginia Tech. Prior to that, Duke.
Yeah,
he is a North Carolina native. He is a smaller defensive tackle, but as we've talked about, not being afraid of that with Mason Graham, if he falls at the top of the draft. I'm not afraid of a smaller defensive tackle alongside Derrick Brown because Derrick Brown brings the size and kind of these eating multiple blockers, while Aeneas Peoples can be a little bit more of a speed guy, technique guy. I like that late. And then round 7, last pick for the Panthers. They don't have a 6th rounder. I don't know why we built up the 7th round pick and not any of the others. I feel foolish. Jake Majors, center from Texas.
Let's go.
It's a little anticlimactic at the end. Depth at center, I think, is one of the few places on the offensive line I would look towards. If I knew internally that the Panthers were out maybe on Ike Ekwonu's 5th-year option or already planning for life after Taylor Moton, I may have taken a swing at offensive tackle somewhere in there. But without that knowledge, I still think center depth is important. You saw it last year. They needed, 4 or 5 centers. Felt like it. I think it was 3, but felt like 4 or 5. Jake Majors, Texas, again, played at a big school, interior offensive line versatility, and with it not being a premium position, you can expect them to fall a little bit and get a better player later in the draft. So that is my perfect draft. That is, if the Panthers do everything that I would do in a realistic sense, that is a perfect draft. And you know what? I don't even know how excited I would be if they do that tonight and into the weekend. If they do my perfect draft, I think I would be solid, like fist bump. We're not chest bumping, right? We're fist pumping at a seated position, because this isn't a draft where you get, the million difference makers. This is a draft where you get hopefully a billion contributors, right? It's quantity of good over quality or scarcity of great in this year's draft. So, even if it goes perfectly, I still think it's solid. It's a doubles draft, right? You're up against a good pitcher. Just get on base. Before we move on, any reactions, Dennis?
I'm not going to lie. Xavier Watts is someone I'm really high on. I think that's got to be a perfect fit, plug in, play day one as a free safety.
And Winston was available there as well, Penn State. I went back and forth on the safeties. I think Winston is a little bit more heavy hitter, big hitter, and I just want a guy that's not going to get beat deep and is going to get his hands on the ball.